So this demonstration is just to talk about some of the different publishing options available within Terminalfour Site Manager. In most clients, it's really up to themselves as to how often they want to publish and how instant they want those changes to appear on the website. There's really a couple of options. The first and the simplest option is what we call direct publish, and it's where the CMS server just directly publishes out to the live web servers, and those changes are instantly visible on the web server. Really, the only time it takes is for the changes to be pushed out to the various different web servers out in the outside world. A quicker version of this is actually if the CMS server is in the same zone as the web servers. So for example, on our SaaS environment where the web servers are sitting relatively close to the CMS server. So a change can literally go publish and it will appear out in the live website. In our demo data, this takes about 2 to 3 seconds. The great option here is that when the content is pushed out to the web servers, these web servers can take huge loads of traffic. So in the case of an emergency, your website won't crash because you're only really serving straightforward web pages. It's not having to go back to a database. The next option here, and this is used by most clients, is what they do is they set up what we call staging areas. And this is a copy of the web server that can actually, where you can actually test the website before it goes live. Most of our clients, I think, would sort of take the view that if you make updates instant on the web server, what ends up happening is people start using the live website as the way to test new content. But yet somebody visiting the website won't have a clue that that is actually just work in progress. So most of our clients will create a staging area where people can instantly publish to the staging area and they can see their changes, they can see exactly how it's going to look. But then what they do is they publicly let people know that that staging area will be pushed out to the live web servers every X number of minutes, whether that's 15 minutes, 1 hour. Some clients even do it 2 to 3 times a day. You can have different rules for different sites, so it's very, very flexible from that point of view. The third option is what we call dynamic publishing, and this is used, to be honest, less so in higher ed, but more so in, say, organizations like airlines and banks, particularly banks who deal with like share prices and so on. What this happens is when changes are made here within the CMS, they are pushed straight away out to a small live component on the web servers. It's based on the same architecture as Facebook, so it's built for high performance. And then the web server renders those pages on the fly from that model. Really, my view is that you would have to be updating every page or the majority of pages on your website every 15 minutes for this approach to be the right one. Really then, I suppose as a choice, really all of this is all down to what sort of decisions you want to make about how the system works for you. You can have things go up instantly, you can have things go up 3 times a day if you want to, but of course there are always cases with in cases of emergency. So the first question is, do you want a staging area? And really, I suppose what you're asking is, do you want people to make changes to the live website directly, or do you want them to have a quick test of it before it goes live? I don't just mean preview in the CMS, but actually does it all sort of fit together and so on. And then the question is, okay, if you're going to go live or scheduled, how often do you want those changes to go up to the website? Now, you don't have to say have a whole website going on one schedule. You could, for example, have the news being updated instantly, but you could have the rest of the website being updated every 15 minutes or every hour. A lot of our clients do the updates every hour because then people know when it's going to go live. But in an emergency situation, it's pretty straightforward. Clients, what they'll typically have is a small emergency mini website that maybe comprises 1 or 2 or 3 pages, and what they just do is they go in, quickly update the changes, the content, so as long as it takes to type in new content, and they use a function called publish now, and that will literally publish it straight up and transfer it onto the web server straight away. What you could do if you want to change the existing website to put up an urgent message on the home page, you can turn on a feature called Publish Now. Now this feature has been introduced probably in the last year, so it's not used by all of our clients. The other option is that we can link in with emergency management systems and emergency communication systems so that those messages are automatically pushed up onto the website. The key point really is if a real disaster happens, what you don't want to do is probably have the whole of your website, because you're going to get a large amount of traffic coming to your website. So what you'll typically, the best option I think, is to have the little mini website ready to go with proper emergency information and so on that you can turn on, but it's low in graphics, it's low in sort of bells and whistles, so that you can actually deliver the website very, very quickly. What I'm going to do now is jump over into the content management system, and here you can see this is actually an out-of-the-box part of the solution. This is literally our system out of the box. Going back to the actual slides, what I want to explain, really there are two parts to the publishing process. One is what we call publish, which either can go straight out to the web servers or go to a staging area, and what we call transfer. Transfer is only used if your web servers are located in a completely different data center to your CMS server. So within the actual CMS, you can see here under content, I go publish channel, and this is me, say, if I was to manually publish out, I can click publish here. It checks to see that everything's running, and you'll see at the very bottom here it will tell me that in this case it took 2.5 seconds, and this I think is publishing about 500 web pages, I think, in about 3 different languages. Okay, so if I go in here, there's a couple of options I can, so that's me publishing. So that means from you making a change, it can automatically publish it out to the staging area or the web server in about 3 seconds. If the web server is located in a different area, you need to turn on a thing called Transfer Manager. And Transfer Manager is the whole configuration of synchronizing it from the CMS server out to the live server. Now this uses standard protocols to copy it up, so there will be a bandwidth limitation. If you decide to change every web page on your whole site and publish it up, like with any change, it needs to go, take time to go up to the web server. But if your CMS server is sitting beside your web server, that can be pretty quick. So there are a couple of nice little features here that you can turn on under the configurations menu here. The first one, if I go into an area called handlers, there is an area here called publish handler. I'm going to click configuration here, and a couple of different options will appear here. The first one, and a really important one, is to do with publish now. What this means is I want to make a change and straight away I want that to go live, and you can decide what user levels are allowed to use that little button there. There's other performance tuning things that you can configure. I mean, our record is about a 1.5 million page single website that can be published in 20 minutes from scratch. And there's different caching options here available in terms of how all of this publishes and so on. From this point of view, it actually works really, really quite well. So in this case, I have publish now appearing there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to edit content. I'm just going to use editing content using the normal way, just for convenience here. And if I go in here and edit a piece of content in this zone here, I'm going to use the advanced editing environment here. I can go in here, make my change. So I'll put in my lovely piece of text here, and then one of the options here is publish now. And I can literally click publish now. In this case, it's telling me which site do I want to publish, and then it goes out straight away, and that has actually now been deployed out to the live version of this site. So I can show you there, if I go in here and I go under test area, and the change I made was under test end user 1, and you can see there's my change straight live on the web server in a tiny amount of time. I think in that particular case it just took 0.6 of a second to deploy that out to the live web server. So that's with the Publish Now button configured. That's literally how quick it can be. So what I'm saying here is that, like for this component, so in option 1, this could push it to the web server in that amount of time. So literally any change you make to any page can be deployed that quickly. If you want to host your web server in a separate location, there's also the transfer time. So what you can do is what we call publish and transfer. And what that allows you to do, it's a configuration option that means that as well as you just clicking publish now, it can go live right out to the website. In practice though, in emergency situations, while you could just make a change like that, most people have like an emergency site, a second site ready to go. And what you just do is when you're ready to go, you need to maybe make a change or have that published. What you do is you click publish here, you'll pick the mobile site here, just do a normal publish, click publish, and that will automatically be pushed out to the web server. What you need to do is then you need to just temporarily disable the updating of the normal website. So you're sort of overriding the main website with a small website just during an emergency. So really you've got a lot of options from doing a very quick publish to publishing it on a particular schedule, and the scheduling is all configured here under what we call the task scheduler. So I could say here, this for example here, it's pushing changes out every 15 minutes, and in this particular case I could set up, well, I want the sample site to go live, and you could have it very, very frequently if you wanted to. These are some standard options available here as well. So really there's a couple of options here, but I suppose the key point to say is that if you want to have it go live or use the Publish Now button, you can do that. You can have changes appear right on the website straight away. The one thing I would say is most people don't. They have a delay, because what will happen is editors start using the live website as the test environment. So they make a change, and particularly if you don't apply workflows, those changes will become visible on the website straight away. So most people put in a delay, but that's really up to yourselves. You can define maybe one area of the site to be able to have a certain editing schedule and so on, but at least it gives you the flexibility to implement not just your web governance processes, but also in the case of an emergency you can publish out. As you can see there, the publishing process is very, very quick. Other organizations, depending on how they configure it, they might have it maybe go up every 20 minutes. They might do full publishes out to multiple servers. For example, under the publishing process here that you configure under channels, you can actually have it go out to multiple servers. So if you have it going out to multiple servers, you need to, obviously that's going to take a little bit longer to push it out to multiple places. I hope this video gives a quick overview of the options available, but really in summary, just to go back to the particular slides here, you have a number of options. You can use the publish feature to publish directly to your web servers if the CMS is very close to your web servers. The other option is you have it going to a staging area where typically it will go it will take, you might every 15 minutes or every hour, you might push from the staging area out to the live environment. It means if someone makes a mistake, they have a little bit of time to catch it. The third option is dynamic publishing, where you push changes directly out to a special web cache on the web servers that generate the sites. And I suppose these are the key options. The key point though is, and this option here, a small version of this is used in products like WordPress and Drupal. But the issue with, say, how the way WordPress and Drupal do it is that if you have a large amount of traffic, it will take down your web servers. In this particular case, what's being pushed out here is fairly straightforward and clean web pages, so we can actually take huge amounts of traffic. We do work with the United Nations, we do work with the OECD, and we've had hacking attempts and denial of service attacks. One of our United Nations projects is able to handle 1 terabyte of downloads in 12 hours when it peaks twice a year. We've also had strong numbers of people attacking the sites, but because it's very straightforward, it's very, very secure. I hope this video gives a good overview, but we're happy to answer any questions if you have any after watching this video.